So we are obviously in election time here, and it's been an interesting day. What were your thoughts on Mr. Mark Carney getting exposed for saying, I've never heard of the JCCC in my life, and then pulling up photos and be like, you mean these guys you had a meeting with, and they said that they had a meeting with you just before actually no, yeah, just before you became officially prime minister? How about that? Oh my gosh. What were your thoughts on that?
And then his comments too on that, like, there's hundreds of thousands. Well, there's thousands of people that take pictures with me all the time. I can't be responsible for, any old photo. And I thought that was really rich, considering this is the party that lost their mind when Pierre visited a constituent that had graffiti on the side of the door. And they're like, see, he supports Diagolon. Yeah. I'm like, what? So when you look at this and you say, this is the same party, the same group that will villainize you for, like I said, door graffiti in the side of a photograph, not even the people in the photograph, just the graffiti in it.
Look at this.
And then you have an actual photograph of a real live meeting with somebody, and they're like, man, people take pictures with me all the time. It's wild. I don't know. It's not a big deal. Shut up. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that to
me.
All
good.
Yeah. It was just so indicative of how he's been kind of running this campaign. It's the weird trust me, bro kind of mentality that he's been doing, where it's like, okay, we'll detail your plan for how we're actually going to raise this capital. Don't worry. We've got this. I'm an economist. And then, what about these dealings with China? Don't worry, it's not a big deal, nothing to see here. If you call it out, you're basically fake news, and I don't want to hear about it. And that was the other part too, because everybody's like, oh, Pierre's just like Trump. I'm like, no, Carney is just like Trump in that way, where, they'd say something about Trump and his connections, and he'd be like, that's fake news. And then you see Carney today, and he's addressing it, and he's like, it's you not checking your facts, and you got this misinformation, and reporters like you who got your story wrong.
I can't believe everything that comes out of Globe and Mail.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, really? Okay. And this, all I want from people on the other side is just to use the same measure that you use on one side to your own team. That's all I ask for.
Yeah.
When we do research, we have to make sure the measures are equal and the same. Otherwise, you get skewed results. And that's exactly what we're seeing. If you are going to call out your opponent for lying or being in a picture or being caught in something, you damn well better do it for your own party.
For sure. Mary Collier says, Moose on the Loose fact check was awesome. Please fill me in on what Moose on the Loose said. I wasn't caught up on that. It was, I found it just to be absolutely hilarious. Just something that's so obviously able to be checked is wild. And I'm curious. I'll be curious. I mentioned in my afternoon show, will CBC do a fact check segment on that?
God, no.
Doubt it. But they'll do 3, 4, 5, 6 different fact check segments on Pierre Poilievre all day, all night. It's crazy to watch.
Yeah, and what's weird is that a lot of those fact check segments that they do in Pierre Poilievre too aren't actually fact checking. They'll be like, he said this, but I interpreted it more like he meant this. It's like not even like where you have Carney who comes out and he's like, oh yeah, I don't know why Brookfield moved their business to the United States. Like I wasn't in charge. And it's like, he was actually, in fact, in charge. So that's what I'm confused about. What are you seeing?
Well, so here's the thing, man. So you saw my afternoon episode, right? And I cited the article that said no, there was a meeting with Mark Carney, yada yada yada. They just took down the article. Apparently, Northern Perspective reported on this. I have it on the screen right now. It's just white. It's just white. Oh my gosh! Wow. They full blown took it down. I'll text you the URL and you can see it for yourself, man. That is insane. But not surprised.
Yeah, this is why trust in institutions has just completely gone out the window.
Yep. Boom. Yikes. stunned, but not really.
Whoa, why am I just getting a blank page with Chinese characters here?
Because they scrubbed the page.
Wow.
Yep. I'm so glad I did that episode when I did it now, because it was there. That link was there.
So I just translated it in English. It says, sorry, the following error occurred. The remote server returned an error not found.
Yikes. They scrubbed it. Scrubbed it.
So, and then when we called out the fact that they did the exact same thing to the public affairs accounts, and everybody was like, oh no, that was just an error. It was an accident, a computer glitch. I'm like, these people don't make computer glitches. Like, these are purposeful actions, and that's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. And just for kicks and giggles, I'm putting this sucker into the Wayback Machine.
Good.
See if I can get something out of it here. All right. 6 works. Let's get a snapshot. Yep. Got him.
It's there.
It's
God
there.
bless the Wayback Machine. They're doing the Lord's work. Holy crap.
Yeah. The only issue with them is obviously it's not a translated version. But this is what it is. It's all Mandarin. But yeah, it's here. Look at that photo, Mark Carney at the JCC, baby. Here we go. Oh yeah, with all the homies, all the business leaders. Yep, Carney. He loves China. He loves China, and he loves fighting America at the same time. Oh, what a guy!
Isn't that kind of wild? Like, even just think about that for a second. The fact that our closest ally, one of the most powerful nations on earth, we've decided to pick a fight with our best friend and pick the other guy.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with this government?
It's bonkers, isn't it? It's yeah. It's crazy, man. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm guaranteeing what happened. So I'll say this. Give credit to Andy Lee. She's been covering this stuff forever. She's all over it. She's been doing this stuff for a long time. She's the one that posted it. I grabbed her post the article. And it's funny how it recently is when things are getting pulled down. I haven't watched Moose and Loose. I didn't see Jasmine Lane's post or video. I'm guessing they addressed it too. I will say this. Independent media made Mark Carney's team call the JCCC and say, can you please pull that down? I guarantee that's what happened. I have a feeling that's what happened. Independent media doing the Lord's work. Let's go, folks. Way to be, my fellow independent media members. You guys are awesome. Thank you for doing the work.
Well, that's the crazy part, right? Is that we're seeing this time and time again, and then having comments coming from inside political parties saying, hey, because the folks on YouTube have made enough noise about this, we're changing direction on this, and this. Like, that to me was shocking when I heard that. And I was like, okay. And so that just really shows you the importance and the value of the independent media, because mainstream media is not holding people to account. They're too bought and paid for. And that's why, like, originally when I heard the idea of like defunding the CBC, I was like, oh, that feels like kind of a bit of a leap. But it is. You have to remove government influence from the media, and government influence is government funding. It has to go.
So this brings me another question, because this is the debate, right? Is because, you have privately funded media in the States, and that has its own issues because they times gonna have to make some stories a little bit bigger than they are, and trying to exaggerate here and there, stretch some stories, make things interesting. I don't know. YouTube might wanting to do that as well. So you have something that's bought and paid for by government. So you have government funded media, then you have private media. There's got to be somewhere in the middle, right? Where we can actually try to have good, proper journalism where people can still feed their families, enjoy their lives, not have to go to the government for funding, but as well as not feel like they're poor for doing what they want to do and bringing balanced news.
Yeah, well, I think that, that's kind of where YouTube is really great in that way, where it does provide a platform for people to kind of like say whatever the heck they want. The problem that I'm seeing is that anytime you put government dollars behind something, you're beholden to them, right? Whereas with with a private entity like YouTube, at least it's coming from ad revenue. So it's like, whatever you're saying, it better be important, because that's what's going to drive ad revenue, and that's what's going to create your income stream.
Yeah.
If you want to put out your own app where people can subscribe to that, I mean, we see like the National Post has their own, Globe and Mail has their own. So there's different ways like that you could do it. But yeah, I don't see any world where we can provide government funds or taxpayer funds to a media source and expect it to be unbiased.
Yeah,
you can't.
I agree with that. It is interesting because I think YouTube does serve a purpose. I think the only issue I have with YouTube, and just in terms, this goes back to, I guess, essentially their algorithm, is the fact that you have to hit specific keywords. You have to have exaggerated language, exaggerated thumbnails, which also can sometimes show an air of lack of trustworthiness of what's, like our show does it. I'm not gonna lie. Every other YouTuber who is big in the space has to do that because that's what the algorithm wants. That's what they feed. That's what they want to get out to people. But then you sit down and watch it. You see the title, you see the thumbnail, like, whoa, that's a little, that's a lot. And then you sit down and watch the person. It's like, oh, this is actually well informed, grounded, makes sense. They're not yelling like Alex Jones. Alex Jones is entertaining. I'll be honest. He cracks me up, a little wild. But like, you have people who are well reasoned. People like to listen to that. So it's fascinating.
Well, I think part of that too is just transparency. If you say like, hey, platforms, totally welcome to do business here. We're not going to charge you a digital sales tax, because I think that's absurd.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we are going to do is we're going to make your algorithm public. And I think that's the part that would be shocking, I think, to those platforms, because I think we can say, pull this stupid DST out and get rid of it. But we need you to be more transparent on how you're promoting things. And I think that would be better for everyone, right? I mean, when we saw Elon take over Twitter and turn it over into X, one of the big things that he was citing was the fact that they were purposely suppressing some things and artificially inflating others. And so if we are to remove public funding out of media because we want to make sure that it's not biased by the government, and we don't want to fall into the hands of a private entity that's going to only push certain content and basically do the same thing, then say, make your algorithms public. Mm-hmm. Let everybody know how it is that a video gets to be at the top of the charts. Because I know that we're kind of doing that in the background when we're doing scrapes of other videos and saying, what is it that works? What keywords are you needing to put in? What kind of, bombastic bold letter title do you have to stick on a thumbnail for people to click on it? So, and, whether that's people themselves and their psychology behind that, or if it's, like I said, the algorithm in behind doing things that we aren't seeing. I think that if you make these processes transparent, and I would extend that to most everything that, is public and private influence, things like the way that we do credit ratings in this country. Why the heck is it only Equifax and I can't remember the other one that are using these secret formulas to come up with a metric that dramatically determines how you move forward in your life? We need these things to be publicly known if they're going to have an impact on public life. So that's just where I'm at. I'm all about transparency.
Open source and get it on the blockchain, baby. I think there it is. It would be interesting. An open source, something like YouTube has an open source algorithm for news. It'd be fairly fascinating, actually. I like that idea a lot. Nylock says, the election and me voicing my viewpoints has ended my social circles for the most part. I've even had rumors spread and lost product contracts as well. Dang. Putting your neck out on the line, man. I mean, hey, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I've become the pariah of the office too, so I feel for it. Because they were like, wait a second, you're going to vote conservatives? I was like, 100%. Mm-hmm. And then people were just kind of like, look at you like you're the weird boogeyman who, like I said, they look at you like you hate women, that you hate immigrants, that you hate others in all forms and capacities, and that you want to strip rights away from minority groups and from others that are different than you. And I'm like, none of that is true. Yeah. None of that's true of the party. None of that's true of me as a person. And it just goes to show you how far that propaganda machine has really gone to influence people's thinking.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a good point. Seeing it in real time is really spooky, isn't it?
It is.
Nancy says, I'm older than you young men and so proud of you both for you standing on your convictions. Respect. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you so much. The JCCC took the article down now, according to MP. Yeah, I caught that, Vincent. Thank you so much. I saw your super chat actually was the one that caught my eye. Go look at that. Michael says, really appreciate you guys digging in and find the real facts on all the comments being made in the election and up to it. I hope everything goes well with the birth of your child coming soon. Thank you, Michael. Me too. Coming anytime here. Coming anytime. There's going to come a day where you're going to click on a link from the Elev8 podcast, and I'm not going to be the one sitting in the seat. We'll see who it is. All right. Christian says, a nation does not have friends or allies. A nation has interests. Fair enough. Fascinating. Nylock says, I'm called all sorts of phobias now because of it. Yeah, that's how that goes, man. It's unfortunate, but it's just the reality that we live in. Holy smokes. I'm still shook by this whole Carney thing. Sorry, I'm actually still like rattled by that at the moment. I actually got hit up today to put up my comment on the parties in this election not using social media properly and not leveraging podcasts in their campaigns. Yeah. And it was like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And I was like, I feel like all campaigns are just trying not to lose and no one's really trying to win. If I'm being quite frank with you. We had one campaign who tried to really engage with the new media. Turned out they hired an OF creator and that blew up in their face. So it was like, and that was the moment where like all the other campaigns were like, oh, maybe we don't want to engage in new media. But I'm like, yeah. But what I said was they're all afraid. But all it takes is one campaign to have a little courage and engage in a thoughtful way with new media and dive in. They will 100% it'll change the game and they'll be the ones who win 100%. Like that is the silver bullet if you can do it properly and not come in with an old head to it. Like realize what new media is and adapt to it. An 80 plus year old man south of the border managed to do that. I think some of these younger people can figure it out. So
yeah, it goes back to my book title. Have the courage to be disliked. Do what is right. We know that this is how people are connecting right now. And even on the left, they're doing the same thing. You got the Rachel Gilmores of the world connecting with folks on that side of it. So it's not like it's just a right-wing thing. Like people are doing it every way. That's the way the world is moving. You got to get with the times. It's not a backwater that is trying to hold on to traditional ways of communicating. So yeah, totally agree. Get out there, do a podcast or two. We'd love it if it was ours. It doesn't have to be ours, but just get into independent media because we need to kind of distance ourselves from the dumpster fire that is the mainstream media right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And especially we're literally the gateway to getting to the younger generation who's going to make such an impact in this election. Why not engage with the people that are talking to those people? Call me crazy. But that's kind of what where we're at. I just, I'm a sports guy, right? I've seen this a billion times over. A team is up 10-1, and then all of a sudden they fall asleep at the wheel, and then it's 10-8 with 3 minutes left in the game. And then it's really hard for that team who's been up the whole time to kind of get the gears going again. And then they ended up either holding on to go to overtime and then losing overtime, or somehow, some way, by some miracle, but nothing that they did, but the other team ended up screwing up, is the way they end up winning. And you have to figure a way to the gears grinded a bit for the Conservative Party, and they had to kind of get things going up again. And now it's like, all right, are you going to try and win this, or are you going to try just play defense, and try not to lose? We'll see how it goes.
Are you speaking specifically to the most recent Canucks game?
Yo, that was crazy, dude. I forgot about that. That was an insane game, dude. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been a Canucks fan now for a while, and so watching that, I was like, finally, dude, you did something.
Oh, baby. Well, speaking of what we're talking of, Vincent is coming in saying, LOL, 3 hours ago, Camila Gonzalez had Pierre and his wife on her channel for about a 40-minute sit down. All right, there you go. Now we'll take it. That's good. I'd like to see that. Camila Gonzalez is, I believe she's the woman who interviewed Sam Cooper and not David Eby. They wish it was David Eby. Sam Cohete, Mr. Cohete, and that was the one where like that article or that interview like went viral. I'm pretty sure that's the same woman, which is it's a good podcast to go on. She does good work. So I'm glad. Okay, at least they're doing something. We'll take the dubs as they come. Are you fact checking this for us, Reg?
Yeah, you see me looking at the other screen here. I'm just trying to find it. Yep, meet the Polyevs.
Perfect. Good. That's important.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
And like that's what we want to see, right? Like we want to see a more human side of the members too. Like, so I think it's great that she brought on both him and his wife.
Yeah.
Because I think that where I've seen him be most human is when either his kids are around or his wife's around. I think that they just do something to kind of like break the facade a bit.
Are you considering going solar?
I don't know if it's just he's been in politics since he was 25, so it's just kind of like, okay, I got to put on my politician face. Almost the same way when we jump on a podcast, it's like get my podcast voice out, get that, you have a way of speaking and looking at the camera and doing things that when you put that family around, it kind of breaks that facade a bit and helps make people a little more human.
Well, I'm also going to fact check your fact check, sir. I'm going to ask you a question here. Okay. Is the interview you pulled up? I'm going to send you the link because I know you can't see my screen. Is the interview this one? Sorry.
We have two very special.
No, because this one's old.
That's what I was saying. I was like, this is 8 months ago. What? So she did another one with them.
This one says April the 10th, 2025. Yeah.
Okay, good. Can you send that in the chat?
It's on Instagram, actually.
It's on Instagram. What the heck? Whatever, man.
Yeah.
So because it's on Instagram, you can't send it in the chat? Is that the issue here?
I just sent it to you.
Oh, did you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Apparently I'm not logged in. So I downloaded this app to kind of like control my social media usage.
Yeah.
And it basically makes you do push-ups in order to get minutes on social media, which is wild because I'm up to like 300 push-ups now because I like my social media.
Right.
And I tried another app. I tried Opal there for a while, and it was just blocking your social media for no purpose. And then it was like, here's a gem. And it was just stupid and hokey.
Mm-hmm.
So I got rid of it. This one where you actually have to do exercise to get your social media. I'm like, man, I'm sore. I'm feeling my chest right now. I'm like, okay, good. This is working. So, but what that means is that when I try to open up social media, if I haven't done any push-ups, it blocks it. So I only got a couple seconds there to open up Instagram.
True. Oh man. Oh, makes sense. Well, that's cool. Fascinating. We totally just derailed our chat here. Sorry folks. Here we go. Kristen says Olivia Primo, aka owner of 1/3 of Quebec Water 2. Okay, cool. Freddie Freeloader says MPS picks up on X. Karma is great. Good stuff. Glad. Cool. Well, that's a good step in the right direction for them. But yeah, it's one of those, I really feel like they just need to I know what they're likely is going to happen, and there's going to be some dipping the toes in the water. Love to see them just take a swan dive in and just blast everybody. Just do different types of interviews. Don't do the same one with everybody. Just try it. Just bring out different parts of your personality and just flood social media with all these different clips. It'd be wild to watch.
Yeah. Honestly, if you want to do something with us, I'll fly to Ottawa. I'll come meet you in Ottawa. We'll go out for a couple drinks. We'll explore, the downtown scene, have a few laughs, talk about what politics looks like for the everyday Canadian. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll go wherever you are. Your favorite pub? I don't know. Your favorite barbershop? But hell, we'll have a barbershop talk. We'll do it all, man. We'll do it all.
I mean, and your boy needs a haircut right now. I'm getting pretty shaggy. It looked like I'm gonna go hug a tree or something.
Well, I mean, do you see that Mark Carney piece where he did that little fun one with the guy with the goofy hat?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he did one today. I don't even know who the guy is. But like it was kind of fun. I'll be honest. It was like it did the job. It made Carney look human. And I was like, that's the type of stuff you need to be doing. So either way. Exactly. Diane Drake dropping cash on the show. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Diane. Oh yeah. I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. Reg, give me a second. Boom. These are beautiful. These are awesome. I don't have the forum in the chat, but hey, I'm making 250 more of these. And I've actually already have over 150 orders have come in just today. So there's only less than 100 that will be selling. So if you want one, get in the Google form on one of my last two videos. It's in the description. And if you want one, sign up and we'll make sure to get shipping out to you.
And what's the significance of that, Josh?
We hit 100,000 subscribers, baby. There we go. So that's why we're making 250 of these. It's funny, like at the moment, we only have 2 or 3 of these exist right now. I have one, Dalton has one, and I believe our old producer Philip has one. And that is all. But we will make 250 more as long as they aren't made in China. That's the key here. And this one is made in China. So we're going to avoid that. But anyways, we move on.
We need something made in America.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be awful. I'm like, there's gotta be, this is actually gonna be a huge test for me, right? Because I've been looking around for tumblers that are actually made in Canada. We have the steel factories here. We have aluminum. Like, why not make them here? I'll be curious if I can find them. So fascinating.
Yeah. And if anybody in the chat knows of a good company that is Canadian, like we'll definitely check that out. I think that's actually something that has come from this tariff talk that's really kind of changed my habits in a way. So for your everyday things like food and stuff like that, I'm not checking to see where those blueberries came from or, where that corn was grown. I'm just buying what's going to be readily available and at the lowest cost because groceries right now are already way too expensive. But for anything that's more of a boutique item, I would say, like, I don't know, right now I'm looking at, I have really kind of crappy skin. I've got rosacea. So I'm actually looking at a company out of Alberta and Ontario. So it's a guy local to Ontario, but sources all his product from Ontario or from Alberta, called The Tallow Truth. So I'm actually looking at his products for rosacea to kind of buy that instead of buying the regular stuff that's owned by Johnson & Johnson or by some other mega corp that's coming out of the States or coming out of Europe. Or coming out of Asia, right? So it's just kind of like being cognizant about those higher add value products that I'm purchasing that are not kind of the everyday to day thing. Yeah. I'm sure that I can source those locally when I can and support people who really have that same kind of Canadian first mindset, right? Mm-hmm. So
that's what we're doing here, man. You get something that's made in Canada, you avoid tariffs, you establish the economy, you help build up the manufacturing here. It's fantastic. That's what we want to see.
I'm all about shopping local. We've got Burger Week on right now. Have you had any burgers?
I have not. I made my own burgers actually. Talk about that in local.
So I had a couple, and I will say I got one tonight from Gahan House.
Oh, nice.
Their office is right under, or their restaurant is right underneath my office. So it was a trip of convenience. It was excellent. I would say a 9 out of 10 burger. It was good. Wasn't the full 10 out of 10, but it was close. They did a good job.
Nice.
Some others not so great. There was one that I had that tasted like somebody took my cream of mushroom soup and dumped it on a burger. The bun was amazing though, but other than that, it was just kind of like, oh, this is disappointing.
True. I Rob Primo just wanted to let us know that he makes the best burgers. He wanted to be aware of that.
Rob, you can come over to my house and we'll have a barbecue off, because I have to say I actually make the best burgers. So.
Oh boy, I guess we're having this a three-way here, because I make the best burgers. This is such a man conversation. This is hilarious.
This is what we're talking about. These toxic men, talking about the burger making.
Oh, I only care about the burgers.
And the other thing too, like, have we become old dads now?
100% we have, dude. Dude, I saw a flat top grill at Costco today for $600. I was like, I'm gonna buy that.
Oh, the Blackstone?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, gee, I want one of those. Make some pancakes on that sucker. Make some burgers. Oh, baby, smash burgers on that. Oh, baby, unreal.
Yes. Went to Kyle's cottage in the summertime, and his family has a Blackstone. I loved it. I was like, oh, I need this now. And my grill is toast right now.
Oh, yeah.
There was a couple things that happened. Like, we had a hurricane that knocked it over and kind of toasted it a bit. I had my in-laws over, and one of them might not have been fully cognizant and turned the dial the wrong way and was just like, this isn't working. Turned it over so that it just like busted its internal mechanism. So, and then just like, there was one time, way too much grease in that barbecue, and it just like cooked the entire inside of the barbecue. So it was like, okay, we just need a new one. And then exactly what you said, when I saw that Blackstone at barbecue or Blackstone grill at Costco, I was like, ooh, I think this is where it's at.
And I can officially, I guess we're still early, but I'm just gonna take it anyways. I can officially say, Daddy needs a new toy. Here we go. J10 says, not sure if you're interested, but Google Brookfield Oak Tree. Go to the Investors tab and open up the Excel spreadsheets in each subsection. That sounds like a job for Reg. That is something that's totally up his alley. He's like, oh, baby, let me get into the spreadsheets. And as you do that, I'm going to read the general chat here because it's kind of funny. Anthony Young says, Roach's Bug Burgers. Let's go. I'm like, yeah, let's go. We love the Bug Burgers, man. That's my next thing I'm making.
Gross.
Yeehaw. Oh man. Yeah, it's I'm curious where things are going, right? So this is funny. This is like one of the first shows that we've kind of just gone off topic, and we're just kind of talking about random things at this point, and I'm kind of here for it. I love this time of year. I got into a little bit. I surprised my wife the other day, and she was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be interesting when the baby comes. We're not gonna get any sleep, yada yada." We started talking. I was like, "Do you know what? I'm so glad that we timed this properly. That we get to have a baby during the NHL playoffs, during Masters weekend, because NHL playoffs go till 3 a.m. our time every night." I'm like, "Yo, baby, there's gonna be something to watch, baby. Oh, let's go."
You know what? That's so true, because when my daughter was born,
yeah.
You're feeding her every 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my wife would wake up, feed her, and then just like pass her to me, and just like she would go back to sleep, and I'm just like there. And I think like it was probably like, all hours of the day and night, and you're just like a zombie holding this child and be like, please stop crying. Go to sleep. And I just like threw on Netflix, and I was like, I've watched everything. I was like, what else? I watched the OC. Everything. And then I was like, well, there's nothing left to watch. I was like, oh, there's Dawson's Creek. So I ended up watching like parts of Dawson's Creek. I don't know how much of it I actually ended up retaining, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Having something to watch.
I gotta be careful. I might get copyright on that. Copyright strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Unreal. All right, let's hit into the final stride of this, man. All right, let's talk about this. Can we talk about the one thing I brought up on the show this afternoon that I still think would be interesting to talk about with you?
Sure.
Let me pull it up here, just for the folks to chat, to see what I'm talking about. So, Sam Cooper's tweet from yesterday, wild, about Mark Carney. I'll reread it for the homies. Mr. Carney is either a champagne socialist geopolitical idiot, which is likely with Gerald Butts running his show, and or is doing his best to secure the CCP and IRGC diaspora repression and champagne socialist useful idiot voter base.
That to me was like, this man is angry.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I said, right? Where I got drawn to Sam because, again, he's very thoughtful, down to earth, concrete in his thinking, very sound methodology, does a good job of drawing out how he came about to what he came to. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, that takes a lot for him to do that. Like, for him to be that in your face, like, this guy's an idiot. Like, this guy is so harmful for our country. And I was like, that takes a lot for Sam to do. You know, things are really bad in what he's discovering. He's probably just up to his like eyeballs in frustration at this point.
Yeah.
I'm right there with him.
Well, it's one of those things too, where you have to realize the people who are most frustrated about this, who feel like they're like screaming into the void because they're screaming against a multi-billion-dollar propaganda machine. They're looking at this going, I just want my country back. I just want things to be better for those that I care about, where I live, where I was born, where I'm from. And so they're looking at this all going, this is a threat to the our own national unity. It's a threat to our own national safety and security. And this person is the leading cause of that threat. So I see him just completely frustrated and tired of all the BS and trying to fight against this massive machine that eventually you can't be soft, or not soft, but you can't be soft-spoken and thoughtful and kind about it anymore because you're just mad.
Yeah.
So it's very just human, right?
Especially watching it, especially I know he's out west. When you're watching it happen in BC the way it's happening and just nothing being done. Sorry, one sec. We lost the page again. Yeah, me 2 seconds, and we're back. When you're watching what's happening in BC the way it is, it must be so just disheartening when the provincial government's like, actually, the provincial government's bought off. The federal government bought off. No one's saying anything aside from Mayor Mr. West, who's like, this is ridiculous, and getting threats by these groups, and the provincial government doing nothing, federal government doing nothing. Yeah, I'm pretty frustrated too.
Yeah, well, the only thing I can say about all of this is that the more the voice of that, like those people like the Mayor West and Sam are actually amplified, and the more we push that out there, the safer they become. Because my thought is that if they uncover something big and they're not in the media, they're not being talked about, then they can go away quietly into the night by whatever accident. Yeah. Unfortunately, right? So the more you put a spotlight on them, the harder it is to get rid of them without turning them into a martyr. And the last thing they want is a martyr. So I think that that's where we can play a role in making sure that those voices are amplified so that we protect them in that way. Because if you keep the spotlight on them, like I said, it's harder to make them disappear. So, and that's the scary truth of it, right?
That's a great point, actually. I really do appreciate that. And it was funny when I did that video where I went off about Mayor West. He followed us real quickly on social media after that. I was like,
Joe, I'm down to talk to him because I think that he's doing amazing work, and I'm proud that he's in municipal politics in this country. He's exemplifying the best of Canada.
Yeah, 100%. We've put out the offer multiple times at this point.
Yeah,
would love to have him on the show. I think he just seems like just a nice guy to talk to, but also a man full of passion and conviction. And we need more of that in our political leaders in this country. And I want to highlight behavior and characteristics like that anytime I can get a chance.
Exactly. And one other thing that I want to bring up too is something we had thrown in kind of like the group chat with us and Jasmine around the federal spending database. I thought that was interesting. So for those who don't know, it's canadaspends.com. And what it is, it's a tool that allows you to see how the government of Canada spends its money. And so it comes from, the public available public accounts from government sources of Canada that show the grants and contributions, any contracts over or under 10K, research databases like NSERC, CIHR, SSHRC. And so Global Affairs Canada is also included in this. And when you start typing in Brookfield, holy crap. So but you can't type in fully Brookfield, I've noticed. You have to stop at like Brookfi, just BROOKFI. And then you get these massive government contracts. So this one here, 1.4 billion to Public Services and Procurement Canada from Brookfield Global. And then another one for National Defense, 157 million for Brookfield Global Relocation Services. Like, just humongous contracts. And I'm just concerned when you see these massive contracts, and we know that Carney has said previously, oh, I did, consulting with the government for free. It's like, no, you didn't. Like, how many of these contracts were moved over because of your free advice, right? And so when you put that kind of an individual into a decision-making position, the ultimate decision-making position for the country, I'm like, this list is going to explode.
Yeah, well, I have a question for you. How can you be sure it's not like a different Brookfield, just as like, because right now we have Brookfield Asset Management is the qualifier. How can you be sure that is the Brookfield we're talking about here?
So this is the thing, right? Is that you actually have to follow like the parent company and then all the subsidiaries that fall under that. So one of the easy ones to look at. So with Brookfield, the Global Relocation Services, that one is actually a contract signed with the Department of National Defense. And so they're responsible for moving all of the CF, so Canadian Forces members around the country when they get posted to a new base or anything like that. So they are the ones that are managing that relocation, and they are making a fortune off of it. And from insiders that are close to these kind of procurement processes and movement processes and HR processes, they're actually the worst. Like, they're horrible to deal with, and they are just grifting basically. So it's interesting to look at, and just looking at the massive 807 results of contracts with the federal spending database set they've got here.
Well, yeah, I think you and I are on fire right now, man, because every point you talk to, I had somehow managed to get up on the screen as you're talking about it. So this is perfect. This is great content. People are loving it in the chat right now. The reason why I wanted to talk about this in a formal video, I just wanted to kind of get all the details together, because I think this would be a fantastic thing to cover, especially for a weekend video. It'd be great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because it is insane. Just the amount of money that's flowing out here. When we talk about the fact that when we did that deep dive into the public accounts data and found that $17 billion going to consultants.
Yeah.
This is that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say, I'm giving ourselves a pat on the back here, because we put out that $17 billion figure, and like an hour went by and mainstream media was like, we've just found out that $17 billion was spent on consultants. I was like, oh, convenient.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I think the big thing too, I think we can end off on this. One thing I'm passionate about is, we got into this, right? We stumbled onto this, right? We, saw what was going on. We wanted to use our talents to kind of expose some things that are happening. And now we find ourselves in this category that people call independent media. And it is interesting how the traditional media was always the ones that drove the narrative. And independent media, I'm starting to learn, is starting to take that over, and they're the ones who are starting to drive the narrative. I think today was the perfect example of that. When you have JCCC pulling down that website, when no traditional media touched that story. No traditional media touched it. Globe and Mail highlighted it, but they didn't touch the website.
Yeah.
It was independent media, starting with Andy Lee, that she brought it, she shared it, and then it was amplified across all the channels. And then boom, within a day, it was gone. Fascinating how that's working. And I think that's showing the shift in the tide in this country, I think, is really fascinating. And they act like we're not here. They act like we don't exist. But they know very well that we're here, and they're nervous. And that's why they're going to try and stomp us out the first chance they get.
Yeah. So. And that's the thing that I'm concerned about, is like, what are the repercussions going to be if we don't have this election go the way we want it to? I think we're going to see an online harms bill that is going to be so damning that it will make any kind of government dissent illegal, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, we're seeing that already happening in the UK, where Carney just came from, right? Where people are being arrested for social media posts, or not even ones that they've created, ones that they shared just because they agree with the content. It's just it's as much as the left kind of likes to poke fun, they're like, oh, you're talking about your freedom. It's like, no, we're actually protecting this for not only ourselves, but for you, idiots as well.
Yeah.
So it really is, it's worrisome, but at the same time, it is empowering. It is inspiring to see that, okay, we can affect change if enough of us get together behind a shared voice, that it does cause websites to come down. It changes directions and messaging from political leaders. Like, it actually has an impact.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, we didn't come into this going, we're coming in because we're big political guys. We're like, we see a problem and we need to fix this, and this is the only way we know how.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's Bassmatic in the general chat saying George Chahal would show up to our floor hockey league in a full helmet, shoulder pads, and visor with massive shin pads. We would just roll our eyes. The guy is completely delusional. You know who George Chahal is?
No.
He's the tall bald guy on This Hour 22 Minutes.
Oh, yeah. No way.
So if that story's true, that's hilarious. But yeah, so yeah, it's but you're right, and this election is going to hinge on a lot of that, and we'll see which way it goes. I'll be fascinated how it all goes down.
I'm thinking, I still think that we'll be conservative. I don't know if we'll see the majority that we're hoping for. It'll be interesting to see. I think that there's a lot of propaganda out there, and a lot of propaganda that's worked. So I think we'll see a conservative minority. That's my guess.
Just like the Harper days. Here we go. Start off. Georgia Hall is the Calgary MP. Oh, I messed that one up. Here we are. That's why we got the live chat, folks. I could have sworn that was the actor. Rip. Well, anyways, it's still funny. That's still hilarious. Shout that out. Anyways, folks. Yeah, I think we're gonna end it there. I want to go to bed and call it a night. How about yourself, Reg?
I'm in the same boat. I was telling Josh earlier, I finished a massive research proposal looking at healthcare and leadership, and it took everything out of me to do that. So I fell asleep. My daughter has like this little playhouse that's like a fabric tent, and it's just filled with stuffed animals and pillows and things like that. So it's like sleeping on a cloud, right?
Hey.
So her and I were playing in that after eating dinner. And I just was like, oh, I'm just going to lay here for just a quick second. I woke up. It was 9:30. And the lights were all like dark, and everybody's already in like bed and stuff like that. And I go up to my wife. I'm like, how long was I out for? And she's like, oh, you were gone for hours. So I'm actually pretty good right now. But yeah, I can tell you that's not your lived experience.
Yeah, I wish. No, tonight was our last meal type of night. I took Kelsey out and we went to the nicest restaurants, went to the nicest dessert places, and I was like, this is gonna be our last time going out for quite some time, so let's take advantage while you're popping. And I mean, what can I say? We were gonna get dessert at Amano downtown, and Kelsey's like, I'm kind of feeling like a cookie. A double chunk chocolate cookie from Costco. Let's go. So we drove out to Costco for a $3 cookie. Let's go.
That's awesome. I love that.
Worth best date ever. And then we finished it off with Palladium. It was awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. You know where we need to go to? Like when you're not fully engrossed in parenthood is Activate. Oh
yeah. People keep telling me this.
It's so much fun, man. I went with a group of guys, and one of the guys, I will say, it's actually a lot more physical than you realize. Mm-hmm. And some of the guys was not as active as others. And there's one where the lasers are coming, you have to like get prone on the ground. And so he just like lays down, and his belly was sticking up, and the laser hits his belly, and we're like, come on, man, suck it in. So it's a blast and a half. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if other people have that in their cities around Canada, but get out there, do some things with friends.
Totally. One last comment someone dropped in here just for fun says that apparently the pleb found a worker who's actually been polled. So that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's go. Awesome. Well, folks,
we're going to create our own polls, Josh.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
We got to. Yeah, we need to get on that. It'll be great. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go to bed. You guys are awesome. So whatever it is you're doing, whether you be going to work,
going to the gym,
or going for a jog late at night, whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are, we love you. We're out. Peace.